Hi everyone, I'm Catherine Hart, and this is my discussion number 2 for evidence-based research. This past week, we've read 3 different articles about researchers who have seemed to fabricate information or data for their projects. Um, Overall, I really liked the readings this week. I think because they're written by journalists, it was kind of a nice change of pace. Got to see, I guess, have more like stories, that kind of that type of writing. Um, and I also have a little bit of a connection with the Brian Wansink, I think that's how you pronounce his name, articles. And that is because he created, along with the food, I think it's the Food Lab, Food and Health and Wellness Lab or something at Cornell, they created this whole program called Smarter Lunchroom Movement. And I used to work for the SNAP education team in Florida, and we were trained to be smarter lunchroom trainers and professionals, I guess, or support staff. So, smarter lunchroom was one of the things that I think when they mention him working with different schools or being kind of a big face in childhood wellness, I think that is what they were referring to, because smarter lunchrooms is all about setting up and using these behavioral economics techniques to have children choose healthier lunches in the cafeteria. And I personally use some of the strategies in senior care, senior centers, and senior homes, or like extended care homes, and because they're kind of similar setups. But that's what they were for. That's what Smarter Lunchrooms was all about. And so all of this, I think, was coming out in 2017. That's what I saw in the articles. Well, I started my position in early 2018. And when I started, I think we had just purchased the training course, because you have to do all this stuff like get trained by Cornell. And so it was interesting because I knew some of the stuff that was going on, not everything. I think I had other coworkers who knew a lot more than I did. And you could see during the trainings that something was going on, because elements that had been available before were no longer available. There used to be this really cool library, quote unquote library for smarter lunchroom projects. And basically, anyone throughout the country who had used them could put their intervention up and you could see it. And that's what I used as a reference for everything, that all the projects that I end up doing. And it was really cool to see, to do the training and to learn about, oh, this could work, like these types of things, and then to see a school actually do it and have it be successful. That was really cool. But I had to download a bunch of the stuff because before we were even finished our training, that had gone away. Maintaining that cost money, and they had lost their funding, I believe, as a result of all of this question about fabrication of data. So that's something that really stuck out to me, is that, and I think that they mentioned this too in the Staples article, that a lot of these big projects, it's not just a matter of the data, which in itself is frustrating enough to have the data be skewed, something that you think is supposed to work, if you do work on top of it, whatever. It's also all this grant funding that comes along with it, that is now lost, or that somebody had maybe when they shouldn't have had it in the first place. Anyway, another element to like my connection with this is that we were required to do smarter lunchroom interventions with schools. That's kind of like how they would do our, I guess, quarterly progress reports or whatever. We had these several different trainings that we with interventions that we offered to different places. Like Healthy Kids, Healthy Futures was for our childcare centers. Smarter Lunchroom was for our schools. And so it is an interesting idea that while the funding has been lost over here, and I'm assuming a certain portion of it was federal, but over here, different federal funding is continued to be used for that work. Now the Smarter Lunchroom stuff wasn't on the same within the same project, I don't think, as this Italian restaurant stuff. But that it's now all the data skewed. All of it's up for question. So that's another thing that's kind of strange, to go somewhere and to know that you've seen it work, but not to know that the original data was correct. So there's that. I'm sure that part of the reason that we had to continue to use it is because the money had already been spent on our end. We'd already paid for that training. And I'm sure that there's elements of that have kept, people doing research when maybe they shouldn't. Like in the Staple article, at first he seems kind of untouchable. It's like he's doing all this stuff and is, winning all these awards or whatever. But people did notice along the way that he was, that there were inconsistencies. People did see. And then with all this pressure, with different students and with him, and then I can see with my bosses, it's like all this pressure just keeps things moving forward, when maybe it needs to stop and we need to take a look at it. Anyway, that's what I got out of this week's articles. I enjoyed them. It's very interesting. And then shoot for part B. Let's see. So I'm looking up which topic I chose so I can read it out correctly. Okay, so my topic is perceived diet quality and accuracy of diet quality assessment. I'm interested in this. I was actually originally interested in doing something on factors influencing student success on the CDR exam, but there was no research other than dissertations that I could find quickly. So I switched, and perceptions about food diet I think are really interesting anyway. I'm hoping to move into clinical. I'm moving out of community nutrition into clinical, and I think that perceived diet will probably play a big factor in my general work. So I am excited to do that. And thanks for listening, guys. Have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to watching your videos as well.